Hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glockenfleckens. I am Dr. Glockenflecken, also known as Will Flannery.
I am Lady Glockenflecken, also known as Kristen Flannery.
Oh, we are so excited to have you join us today. We are talking to a different person, not just the two of us together.
That's correct.
We have a guest.
We have a guest.
Occasionally have those.
Yes, often.
We have a very, very exciting guest.
I love this one.
Yes.
I mean, I've loved them all, but this one is has I have a particular soft spot.
Yes, we are talking to Sheena Melwani. Now, many of you have probably seen her. She's got like 10 million followers on
TikTok.
A couple million on YouTube, and just all over. Great content, very fun, funny, uplifting content. She does a lot with her husband.
Yes.
And they do a podcast together as well. Sheena Interrupted.
Lots of similarities between us. And we actually got to meet them in person in New York City.
Yeah.
At an American Heart Association event, and just hit it off. Like they are
I always kind of wonder.
our kind of people.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder like what people are like in real life.
Right.
Because you only see them on social media.
Right.
Well, it was like
These two are what
I
you
was pleasantly
see.
surprised.
Yeah.
They're exactly what you see.
Yes.
Hopefully we're what the people see.
Oh,
You think
that's a good question. Well, I mean, I don't know how we could answer that.
People who have
but-
seen us in real life and seen us on social media, are we what you see? Are we the things that you see in
Do
the
you
thing?
see what we
Are we
see?
are we the same?
Can
Are
you
we,
see?
I don't
Do
know.
you need an ophthalmologist?
You get the point what we're trying to ask here. But anyway, we had a great conversation with Sheena about
Yes.
their foundation.
Yes, Spread the Joy Foundation.
Spread the Joy Foundation that she runs with her sister,
Shalini Samtani.
Shalini Saptani. And
It came from an organic experience that their family had, and now they use their time and energy in this foundation to spread joy to kids and their families in the
great story.
hospitals.
So especially those of you in healthcare, barely anybody can relate to this if you've been a patient and or taking care of patients.
But they do. They have. You'll have to hear the details. But they have a way for you to have these joy boxes, they're called, in your hospitals. So if that's something that's of interest to you, definitely check it out.
And before we get to the interview, you ready for Iowa?
I'm so ready for Iowa. I always love going back to Iowa City.
Old stomping grounds.
That's right. We lived there for 3 years.
Our tour is stopping in Iowa City at the
Yes.
Theater. There may not be any tickets left as
By
of
the time this
recording.
airs, yeah.
And so I apologize for those of you who can't get tickets. We'll come back. But those of you who do have tickets, we're so excited to see you.
It's going to be so much fun.
It'll be
I'm
great.
so excited. I mean, our show is always really fun. I always love all the shows, but this one in particular, I'm pretty excited.
I'm writing some very special jokes just for Iowa. So because of how much I know about Iowa.
Yeah. That's a thing that I never thought I would say, like as a kid, thinking about my adult life.
Know so much about the state of Iowa. All right. Well, should we get to our interview?
Let's do it. It's
All
a
right.
fun one.
Here we go. Here is Sheena Melwani. Today's episode is brought to you by the Dax Co-pilot from Microsoft. To learn about how Dax Co-pilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine, stick around after the episode or visit aka.ms/knockknockhi. Again, that's aka.ms/knockknockhi. Thanks for joining us. Great always to see you. We saw each other. How long ago was that in New York? We were
Months ago. Not that long. It's like 5 months, 6 months. It feels a lot longer.
at an American Heart
Lots happened.
Association event. Yeah. So it's great to have you on.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. And it was really a pleasure to meet you guys. And I feel like when I heard your story, I had tears in my eyes, obviously, like many people do. But I also felt really connected in some way just to what both of you were saying. And I felt like it was a really, really nice, sweet connection to be able to chat with you both.
It's a strong enough connection that we can work together and not, hate each other. That's something.
Well, and you and your husband
can relate to that.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about at all. I don't have a co-host right now because
he's on the couch.
Well, my first question to you was going to be, I've thought about this before when we ask people to come on the podcast. Like, how does it feel to make content all the time? And then someone's like, hey, come also make content for us. and like do another job on top. It's like as a physician, it'd be like someone say, "Hey, can you come and just work in clinic with me for an extra half day?" I don't know. Do you get tired of making content?
I actually don't. I really,
that's
really,
good.
I love making connections. And so, yes, it's funny that you're constantly on when you're a content creator, but I do appreciate just getting to know different people and getting to chat on different topics. And for me, it's really, really about connections.
Yeah.
It always goes back to that basic connection, that human connection. And I love connecting with humans that seem like really good people.
Does your co-host usually feel that same way?
Pass. Next question.
We should mention, for those who don't know, her co-host is her husband, who also fancies himself to be funny. So we have that in common, Sheena, of having to live with these ridiculous individuals. But they make us laugh.
They do.
Absolutely.
There's that.
They do. They make life interesting.
Yes. Never
absolutely
boring.
Does. And what was because your podcast has been going for how long now?
Since January.
Okay.
So we're on 7 months now, almost 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
And was I guess, how was the transition for you? Because it's so funny. We have such similar kind of, paths through this social media content creation world. We started, I was making videos, you were making videos, and then we started podcasts. And how was that transition for you from doing, your other content that helped you blow up on social media into the podcasting world?
I mean, in some ways, it's really, really wonderful because I get to express myself over a longer period through a different medium. You're learning new things. I think it's always good to keep yourself on your toes. But then here we are. We've just added an entire other layer on top of this already very busy schedule. So learning to juggle that and learning to manage different expectations of yourself and of the job and of the content itself. It's a completely new medium.
And you have one thing that with your podcast that I don't think I've ever seen is the ability to keep someone semi-anonymous in your co-host.
Are we succeeding in that?
It's a little iffy. I don't know.
Sometimes it's a little,
It's actually something I wanted to talk to you about because it's in the medical field. When I first started on social media, I was anonymous because I was afraid of getting myself into trouble.
Yes.
Which you can, being a physician, it's kind of a weird thing. And there's these rules about professionalism that people have for you. And so I was just anonymous for quite a while and then eventually showed my face and ended up being like not a big deal at all. Like people actually liked,
putting a face to the
the content and the jokes and everything. And so
they were like, huh, really?
Yeah.
That guy?
Right.
So I'm not telling you that your co-host, your husband needs to show his face, but
we're definitely having these kinds of conversations.
People love him.
Yes, people do love him. The social media world and further they're very loving for the content that we've created. They're very supportive and they really do love him a lot. We had a similar situation where he has a profession that is just a little bit more professional. And he was kind of nervous about crossing over these two worlds. And I think what's really remarkable about what he does is he just saw it as a way to, 1, support his wife, 2, spread a little joy, and 3, be human, show that he has different facets to his, to his otherwise very seemingly serious profession. So we're definitely at the point where we have conversations about, do we really need to keep this up? But it's almost like a little shtick that we have that people seem to like. It's not necessarily even about showing or hiding his face, because if you search for my name, like that auto-populate feature, it really doesn't do me any favors. It kind of pulls everything right up. So if you really wanted to know, you could. And for the people that don't want to know, which there are plenty that just don't want to know, we kind of keep it up because it's fun and it's silly, and life is, we feel sometimes lacking in that.
Yeah.
So why can't I have a co-host that's not really all human.
Yeah, I
Like,
love
it's a
that
little
his
bit of a cartoon.
avatar. You've got
Such a
this
great
little
avatar.
cartoon face as his face
Yes.
over his real face. So
Yes.
it's
And just very
so fun.
creative camera work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. Or not sometimes.
I mean, I would love to just be able to like look at you while I'm talking
Yeah.
too. It was like, I like your camera setup where you actually
Yeah.
like into, look at each other and not through a computer screen.
Well,
But,
sometimes people tell us it's like watching a 2020 or a Dateline interview. Like,
Oh.
what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I never thought about it that way. But then he'll tell me, he'll be like, you have to really look into the camera because you have to focus. And I'm like, it's easy for you to say that I have to look into the camera when you just get to look at me or,
Yeah.
I don't know, look elsewhere.
No one knows where you're looking.
Exactly. How we make it work.
yeah, and it's working great, and
Thank you.
so love the content. And but we want to talk to you though today about the Spread the Joy Foundation.
Yes.
That's a big part of your mission and what you and your sister and your whole team is doing.
Yes.
And so I know, your sister wasn't able to come on with us today, unfortunately.
Yes. And she
but-
apologizes for not being here.
Oh, that's okay. It sounds like she has some more important things
Yeah.
to be doing, which is always
Well, I have to say, my sister has her hands literally everywhere. So when I say that this foundation is like grassroots, bootstrapped, she's the one who goes into the warehouse and like makes sure that the packages get out, and she's the one who's ordering supplies. And so right now we have a little bit of a struggle going on with making sure that all the stuff is going in and coming out from the right places, and she needed to be on top of that. So she was in a warehouse and she was like, there's some banging. It's okay if I join. And I said, you know what? Just sit this one out. Go deal with the banging.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Does she ever end up in your content? I don't know if I've seen her.
She has. She's been in the content more through COVID because we were quarantining together.
Right.
And then since then, she lives in New Jersey. So whenever we're there, we do every once in a while do content
family.
together. Yeah.
What was it like growing up, the two of you? Clearly you still get along pretty well.
Yeah.
We do. So she is actually, here's me being fully transparent. She is actually my sister-in-law. She's my husband's wife.
Oh,
She is
okay.
my best friend. And she is the person that if ever something went wrong between me and my husband, she's like, I get you. I choose you. And so she has become like my sister by choice. And I've known her for a really, really, really long time. We didn't always get along. And then we got along swimmingly. And I don't think we've ever looked back.
Oh, that's great.
Aw.
Yeah.
That is really sweet that you
Yeah.
just call her your sister. Like you would never know that it was.
No,
Yeah.
because I actually don't feel, and I feel this on both sides. I have two sisters-in-law, and I feel as though I don't have two sisters-in-law. I have two sisters.
Yeah, they're
And I'm
family.
sometimes closer to them than I am to their spouses. And one of their spouses is my brother, like my
Yeah.
actual brother.
Oh,
My brother's wife. Sometimes I feel closer to her and I tell her
Yes,
more than I
right.
tell my brother. And so, yeah, I feel very, very fortunate.
yeah.
Well, tell us about the
I'll
origin
tell you
of this
about-
foundation.
yes.
Yeah, tell me all about it.
Yes. So my sister's daughter, so my sister-in-law's daughter was born about 6 months after my daughter. We had our kids around the same time. Our sons were born 3 months apart and our daughters were born about 6 months apart of each other. And her daughter was about 3 months old maybe when she caught a cold, and they started finding blood in her urine. So they would open up a diaper to change her diaper and there was blood in there. And so they rushed her and she was dehydrated and there was just a whole bunch of things that were just not seeming right. And they took her to the hospital. And it was probably the scariest night of her life, my sister's life, and their family's life, where they had all kinds of doctors just surrounding this poor little child and trying to figure out what was wrong with her. And they did test after test after test. And over the course of the next few weeks, they discovered that she's got a condition called HUS, hereditary uritic syndrome. And there's so many technicalities that I don't necessarily understand, but at the core what we understood as a family was that this little girl could not afford to get sick, because if she got sick, her body would just start attacking all of the cells as opposed to just one particular type of, whatever the infection was.
Right.
And then she would end up with blood in her urine, and her kidneys would start shutting down and failing her.
I think it's usually, I've heard of that associated with E. coli infection.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that can kick off that hemolytic uremic syndrome. So
That's one of the things.
yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Right. So I don't know. I haven't done the research that my sister and her husband definitely know more about this than about anything else that they know. And
Sure.
there were times where I would hear her talk to the doctors, and the doctors would say, well, let me just go and check my records, or let me go and do a little bit more research, because they clearly didn't know as much as, because my sister and her husband were literally researching anything and everything they could get their hands on this one particular issue. Whereas you have, doctors will learn about all of it. And then their juniors would come in, and those guys, they would catch them completely off guard, because they definitely knew more than the juniors did it in those instances. But she absorbed anything and everything that she could. She literally was all consumed with all things about this disease. And like I said, I can't necessarily tell you about the technicalities of the problem the problems that they were dealing with, but I saw what was happening in this hospital room. And her daughter literally started living in this bubble of, like, you talk about COVID and how we couldn't go out without a mask on, or we had to sanitize our hands before going or touching anything. We were careful about what came into the house, what went out of the house, all that stuff. We were living that way in some sense before COVID even happened. Many years before COVID happened, we would go out to restaurants and Lysol down tables and chairs before her daughter could go anywhere. And even that we would pick like 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon when there was a lull. We wouldn't go anywhere during high frequency visiting times. And that's if we decided to do that. That was like the rare occasion, right? But for the first, I want to say 4 or 5 years of her life, this little girl, Aria, she was completely fine when she was healthy. And then if she would get sick, she would get really sick, and she would have to be hospitalized. And so then everything just stopped in our family, in our lives. Everything just stopped, and we all just they went to the hospital, and, everybody would just kind of try to do whatever they could for the family. And what that entailed for me was I would leave my kids here with my parents, and I would go and take care of my sister, and she would take care of her daughter. And so we spent a lot of time in the hospital trying to figure out what to do, trying to find fun things for this little girl to feel normal. And I remember walking around the halls of the hospital looking for like a plate and a fork and I don't know, like chopsticks. And then I'd come back to the room and I'd be like, oh, look, we can make this. Look, blah, blah, blah. And we did all kinds of stuff like that. We would do art projects. I'd bring in art supplies and we'd paint. And then we realized that there was a whole team of people dedicated to just this. Like there were art therapists, and there was dog therapy, and there were child life specialists that would come in and help this child or these children get work on their fine motor skills or whatnot during this time where they were stuck in a room, and she really couldn't leave her room much.
We're talking for days to weeks at a time.
Yeah, weeks at a time, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time. My sister often described it as being in a fishbowl. So you're literally like swimming around this small little space, and everybody can look in on you, but no one, like that fish couldn't really get out of that space. And it was really hard to see just what that did to everybody's spirit, you know? And I don't think it was hard for my niece. It was very hard because she was the one who was poked and prodded and didn't feel great at times. And there were so many traumatic things that she had to just brace herself through. But that's really all she knew. For my sister, that was like a whole other story that we weren't even prepared for. Like we didn't even know. And I remember my mother-in-law calling me and saying like, you need to go and take care of her because she's not listening to anybody. She doesn't want me around. Like she's just, I don't know what to do. So that was why I jumped in often. I would go and spend a week or two at the hospital and make sure that she ate and make sure that she like got up and took a shower or make sure that she went out and took a walk while I stayed with my niece. Anyway, all this to say, when we finally left the hospital setting, it was 1 year after Thanksgiving. I was back in Boston and she was home with her kids in New Jersey. And her son, I think, said to her, Mom, what about the kids that don't get to leave the hospital? What about the kids that don't get to come home for Christmas? And she said, there are children that are not going to get to go home. They're going to have to stay in the hospital. And he said, that's not fair. We should do something for them. And so they went to Target and Walmart and Staples and Michael's, and they bought whatever they thought would be enjoyable or bring joy, something that would keep them busy. So they bought paints and they bought coloring pencils and they bought little paper plates, or they bought whatever it is, like all the things that we had found in the hospital, all the things that they thought could make a difference. And they created these little joy boxes and they gave them back to the hospital where she had been. It was the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. They dropped off like 50 boxes just before the holidays. And they said, these are for the kids that are in the long-term stay unit. And I think they healed a little. Mm-hmm. They all healed a little. They sat around their kitchen counter and they made these boxes and they talked about, oh, wouldn't it be nice if, can you imagine so-and-so's face when? And they all healed just a little. And then, January comes around or February is coming and they made the same kind of box for Valentine's Day. And then in March, they did the same thing for St. Patrick's Day. And then in April or May, they did a Mother's Day one or they did a Easter one and they just continued doing it. And over the course of that time, anybody who heard what they were doing would say, oh, well, here's $25 or here's $100. Put this towards your supplies. And so they went from making 50 boxes to making, 100 boxes to making 200 boxes. And every time we would get together as a family, we would all do that together. And we would call these joy boxes or joy packages. And the more people heard about it, the more they wanted to be part of it in whatever capacity they could.
Such a great idea. Yeah.
It was amazing. And it was healing. It was so, so, so healing for so many people. And even people that didn't know what was going on, they knew somebody who could benefit from something like this, or they wanted to teach their kids to give back in some way. So what we ended up doing was just bringing people into the house and having these like packing parties. And it started off so authentically and so naturally. And then eventually we all said, no, this has to be something more. There's definitely something more here. So she registered it as an official like 501c3. It's a nonprofit. We have a board now. We've grown so much over the last 4 or 5 years. We have a team of people, each one responsible for their own sector. We now have, I think this is like 5 years later, we now have, it's not just collections from wherever we're finding the best deals, which we did for a long time. And we worked with partners for so long who were donating supplies. But now we've gone and created our own, what we call Joy Box or Joy Bag. And it's basically filled with bespoke items. Everything has been cleared through child life services. We've worked with doctors. We've worked with psychologists. We've worked with therapists to find the best tools and the best toys and the best things to insert into this package, whether it's paints, whether it's coloring sheets that have really, really positive messages, whether it's Play-Doh just to keep your fine motor skills going. Everything that has gone into this package is really, really bespoke. It's really chosen carefully with these children in mind. And so that's sort of where we are.
How many boxes do you make? Like, I guess, how long has this been going on? How long have you been making the boxes?
This has been going on probably for about 5 or 6 years now. And
Wow.
we're in
That's
about
great.
300 hospitals across the US now. And we have actually expanded to do like corporate events. So our corporate events now, like a company will say, we have a give back. We want to do this event. We'll give you this donation. And then our team will go in and we'll bring all the supplies and we'll help lay them all out. And we'll have this like, what do they call it? Like a, what's the word? Where you have like a line up of people going to fill.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like an assembly line kind
Yes.
of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So they do like assembly line style where each person is responsible to fill the box and then shift it
Gotcha.
over, fill the box and shift it over. And then you have, we've done parties for 100 boxes. We've done parties for 500 boxes. We've done parties for even 1,000 boxes. And they get shipped all over the country from wherever
What an
it is.
awesome thing to see a particular need and just put that to good action and
Yeah.
figure it out. And I'm just glad that, back when you got this idea and you were looking around asking, for paper plates and things, I'm glad one of the things you didn't try to ask for was an ophthalmologist. Because we don't like to go to hospitals. And so it's not exactly something you could probably include.
I don't think
in a
you can fit an
box.
ophthalmologist in a box.
No.
That'd be a different kind of
No,
party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Different
But,
kind of
it-
party. But if you have
that's-
any thoughts of something that we could put in the box, we will take your thoughts.
Well-
Yeah. Some sort of visual.
Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking that, I think one of the things that can seem really scary for kids in a hospital is that there's all these tools that are being used on them,
Mhm.
like reflex hammers
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
stethoscopes. And so having some kind of like miniaturized version of these things or some kind of explainer of some of the more common things, IV
Mhm.
kits. I don't know.
Yeah.
To just try to demystify some of
Yep.
the medical aspects of the
Yep.
things that, but then on the other hand, maybe they just want to forget about all that and
Yeah.
not
Also-
think about that at all.
So we found some sort of a bridge. We have this like little hand puppet guy. He's got 2 big eyeballs, and you can
Well,
actually.
that's all you got to
put-
say. 2 big eyeballs. That's great. Good start. What else you got?
It like literally fits on the end of your finger, and so whatever you're doing, you can just kind of diffuse a little because there's this little character that's got these like googly eyes, and you can
So like the doctor or the nurse puts that on.
Mhm.
Oh, how fun.
on their fingers, and they can just kind of like distract the child a little. I've
Yeah.
seen it used to just like you put it as you're giving a shot, you just kind of like diffuse or relax the child
Yeah.
a little bit with
That's
that
amazing.
on the end of your fingers.
Yeah. Have something silly paired with
Yeah, I love it.
the thing that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything that's in that box is very purposeful. Everything that and we're always learning, right? If somebody suggests to us, hey, you should have something like this because X or because Y, sure, we'll go back and look and see if there's a space for that. We're always looking for people's input.
Yeah.
Life-size skeletons, I think, are really popular with
All right.
kids.
I'll pass
Well,
it along to our
That
team.
may be true, but I don't know if that will fit in a box
Yeah,
either. You need to start thinking smaller.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just got a life-size skeleton and
Yeah.
our kids really enjoy it. And
They
Yeah.
sure do.
don't ask why we got it. It doesn't matter.
But what is
All
it
right.
that they enjoy about it? Like, if we could break down what they enjoy about it, then it's easy to pair that with a thought on a smaller
Yeah.
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah. They like dressing it up. You can see. They like, dancing with it, moving it around. They like making it pose and different things and trying to scare us, like hiding it in
Right.
a closet or something.
Which
And then
they
you
have
open the
succeeded
door.
a couple
yeah.
times. I have been
love that.
frightened by my own life-size skeleton. So
You
yeah,
had that
all
one
just-
coming.
I do
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy
No.
Hey, let's take
in that regard.
a quick break.
All right.
All right, we'll come right back. All right, we are back with Sheena Melwani, and I also think that going back to what our kids liked about the skeleton,
Yeah.
I think they're used to me having all kinds of props
Uh-huh.
for my videos,
Mm-hmm.
and that when something new comes in, it's like a new toy for them, and maybe also they're used to me stealing their toys to use as
Yeah.
props.
So now it's like,
now they're,
they
like,
get to
stealing
steal
something.
They
one.
want to
from
steal
me.
your toys.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes.
It's also on rollers. So they like to move it around, like things that are on wheels.
That's true.
Are
I
fun.
feel like I need one of these in my house. Why do I want one all of a sudden?
If you got one of these, I can only imagine what your husband would be doing with it.
Oh, yeah.
I
I
just
know.
would be
Sure.
fearful for you.
I know this is true. This is
Oh,
true.
that's funny.
So I wanted to also mention, I think a really important thing that your foundation and these boxes are you calling bags or boxes?
Joy
the
bags, joy
bags?
boxes.
What do
It
they look
depend-
like?
I wish I had one. You know, my sister was supposed to be on camera holding one, but I'll get you one and I will send it to you.
Oh, I'd love to see
because
one.
I
Yeah.
think that you would really appreciate to see it. It's really like it's a very sturdy little bag. It's not even little. So actually we're doing both. We're doing bags and boxes. The bags are already pre-assembled. And they're just like, they have a really sturdy design. They're made of like not just flimsy paper material. They're thicker. And
High
those just
quality.
come very, very high quality. They're super, like we've had our kids kind of swing them around and they hold their shape and they hold they're just like sturdy.
Yeah.
And so those come directly from the our 3PL location, like our warehouse. And those can be shipped straight. But the boxes that we do, those are the ones that are created when we have these packing parties. And those are bigger. They're filled with more stuff, but they require a little assembly. So I'll send you one of each. You guys can have a look at, what comes in a standard.
Yeah.
How about little pagers?
Just
Are you funding this like
No,
whole new?
Well, okay, let me tell you how I got to that
your
leap.
ideas are terrible.
Okay, well, hold on.
I didn't
Because
say that.
A lot. Yeah, she's humoring me here. A lot of kids, when they go through like a major medical thing, it will often kind of put them on a path to being
a doctor
or nurse or something in healthcare. So I was thinking, let's just get them a pager early on.
Get them started early.
Hey,
Put
let
them to
them
work.
know the unique joy of
Yeah.
being woken up at 3 a.m. to a horrible sound.
well, we don't have to page them at 3 a.m., but
All right. Go ahead.
like
You
just,
can tell
sounds
she's
like a
used to people like
just
you.
spitballing,
Yes.
put it on the whiteboard. I don't know.
Hold on. Let me write it down. All right. I'm writing it down. Okay.
Yes.
I wrote it down.
Invisible
Listener
ink
note,
on my
she's not
hand.
actually writing it down. Okay. But here's what I was going to say though, because as amazing as this is for the kids, like it's got to feel just as good for the family members, and that's something that we're always tuned into with our story.
Yes.
Of how much the healthcare system can be focused on the patient to the detriment maybe of the family around the patient.
Well, and even within the patient, there, it's a system that is built to treat pathology. So that's kind of, this is an overgeneralization, but that's kind of the main thing that they deal with. So a lot of the humanity of the situation gets overlooked. So that's what I love so much about these boxes and bags in your organization is just it's putting a piece of that humanity back into the actual hospital, right? And that was one of the things that I encountered during his cardiac arrest when I was up at the hospital. It was just such a lack
There's a
of
disconnect
of humanity, of just the recognition of what my human being needs and reactions might be in that moment. And you were unconscious, and so it was a little different for you. They were taking excellent care of him, but it was just this gap that I saw so many times between his two cancers and then the cardiac arrest of like there's amazing care from a medical perspective happening, but there's almost nothing for all these other aspects that come along when a person is in the hospital.
Well, I think that that's really what this was born out of, and that's a lot of what I was resonated with what you were. A lot of what resonated with me when I spoke with you was the same feeling of there was this big gaping hole, and it has nothing to do with the medical system per se with respect to the patient, because the care that my niece was receiving and continues to receive is so amazing. And
Yeah.
from what I've heard about even your case, the care that you received was fantastic from the doctors, from the nurses.
Right.
It's what about everything else?
Right.
What about that? Like, and that has to be, it has to come next. It can't come first because the care of the patient has to be at the front line.
Absolutely.
But what happens next? What happens when the families go home? What happens when these kids can't go home and they're just waiting for the next doctor's visit? How do you bridge those gaps? And we are not doctors. We talk about it all the time. We are not we're not in the medical field at all, but we have been on the side of the patient. We have been on that side of patient care. And so we've experienced firsthand the things that worked and the things that didn't, the things that went well and the things that could use a little bit more of that human touch.
Right. And I hear a lot from people when I talk about these things about, compassion and humanity from healthcare workers to patients and families. Um, you know, most people are on board with that idea, but then the feedback that I always hear is, but the system is designed in such a way that it makes it almost impossible, right, for healthcare workers within the system to be able to have the time and the energy and the resources to do the things that would be helpful. And so that's another thing I love about this idea is it's not on them. It's and that's what I say a lot too, is it's not on any individual doctor, nurse, or what have you, but the system itself needs to have something built in to cover these things. And so having your boxes, your bags in the hospitals where they just show up to the patient, right? That's doing that. That's helping this problem without putting any more undue stress or time constraints on people working within the system.
And,
so
and
it's
in
genius.
fact, thank you. In fact, we've heard from the folks at the child life care sector, like on the child life care side, they will send us emails or they'll send us like just little notes after the fact saying, you don't understand, like you guys are doing all this work and we are the beneficiaries of this joy. And it's so, so sweet and so special and people are skeptical too. We were definitely met with a lot more skepticism as we were starting. Like, wait, you just want to send me things and there's no catch? And we're like, yeah, that's the whole point of this. The whole point is
interesting.
We had this really nice, sweet thought and we just want to execute on it. But it's hard for people to imagine that there's no catch, no strings.
Right.
And
why is someone doing something for me?
Right.
Like,
or for somebody that they don't know.
For free, for nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So the one thought that we have had recently is we would love to get the child life specialists involved or like the nurses involved through the hospitals, like have them come and do a packing party. We take care of everything, but they come and do the packing party so that they see what it is that's being created so that they get, because they are the bridge. They are the ones who are delivering these packages. So we'd love to have more of that where the nurses and the doctors, if possible, or this child life specialists or the art therapists or the music therapists are getting the opportunity to see what goes into these packages and then they get delivered. And our motto, our saying that like drives our foundation is joy for you, joy for me. So we give a little joy. We sort of like receive a little joy along the way, a lot of joy along the way. And it just feels so complete, so full.
Yeah. It's humans at their best, taking care of each other and using our own experiences to make other people in those situations have a better experience. I love it.
For the record, now don't let doctors off the hook there. No, they absolutely.
They have to do it too.
Even the ophthalmologists, get them in. I know they're scared.
Especially the ophthalmologist.
That's right.
Especially the ophthalmologist.
Don't you know I'm coming over like in 15 minutes to
perfect.
a packing party
We'll have a little party. Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to participate in the packing party.
Yeah, I would too. They sound really fun. And you're right. It's doing something like that for somebody is just as much about what you get out of it as what you're giving.
It's a good idea to have do them in the hospital. I think that's a great idea, getting all the materials there. And it's interesting you're talking about like the systemic factors in healthcare that prevent us from doing all this kind of humanity-based work. there's a part of that, but also like pediatrics has kind of figured it out.
Yeah. Pediatrics is
Like,
doing it way better than
the
anybody else,
fact
for
that
sure.
they have child life
Yes.
specialists,
Mhm.
like they have that. There's some infrastructure there
Yeah.
that I do feel like helped to realize this vision that you have, right? Like if there
Totally.
you had enough people that were on board with this
Yeah.
idea
Art therapy, music therapy,
yeah,
dog
to adopt
therapy.
it. And
Why do we have any of that for adults?
real
I
that's I
know.
mean,
We're
we got
just grown-up
some of
children.
those things, but it's
Yes.
just not as accepted.
Right.
And
Or
there
it's
is
accessible.
exactly, right. And so there's a big not to put more on your plate, Sheena, not to tell you like you got to fix everything, but like come
I
on, can
got
we
it.
do everyone else
Next
here?
idea.
Let's go.
Adult boxes,
But-
adult bags. Got it.
I'll throw in some artificial tears.
Oh my gosh.
That's I don't
And the
know.
pagers. Don't forget the pager.
Yeah.
Okay,
People
yeah.
will love
It's gonna
it.
cost you.
There might be some broccoli in there too by the time we're done here. Just what other horrible things can we put in these?
how about a fax machine? We love our fax
Fax machine.
machines.
Pair of glasses.
Yes.
So but yeah, it's so this is a perfect space to like do this type of work and
Yeah.
you
Do you
know.
put things in there for the family? That just makes me curious though. Like, are there things in there for like the parents too?
So we've designed this book that we've actually created. Again, you'll get to see it. And it's got all kinds of things in there, tips, tricks, stories for families, and then games that a child could play by themselves or that a child could play with some help.
Mhm.
So there is this sort of bonding factor that is considered. And even like we have origami in there, and there are super easy origami steps. And there are others that require the help of an adult. Or there's like a building thing with a wooden toy in there. And if you build this way, it's a little bit easier. If you build it this way, if you want to do this particular activity, it requires a little bit more help.
Mhm.
Okay.
they
So
can do
there
it
is that
together.
consideration that you can do it together. You can have these conversations together. There's jokes in there that the child can tell their parents. There's thought starters that the families can talk about. There's ways to
Right.
communicate together.
Do you have maybe you mentioned this earlier and I missed it, but for like different age groups, is there like I don't know if you've
We don't
stratified it that
separate
far?
anymore.
Okay.
We did.
Okay.
Initially,
Oh,
we
you
did.
Okay.
When we first started and people were donating, companies were donating supplies, we did start that way where we had like a newborn box and then we had a
Sure.
age, 2 years to 5 years and then a 6 through whatever. But now our boxes are pretty standard and the stuff that you can do with them ranges based on which part of the book you look at.
Oh,
I see.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a much more
That makes
streamlined
sense.
approach. Yeah, where you can still serve all
Yeah.
the ages. That's nice.
Yeah.
That would
And
be hard.
the contents definitely serve a larger,
Sure.
more diverse population, like age range.
Right.
Mhm.
It's very cool.
It
I
really
love
is.
this
Yeah.
idea, and I love that we can share it with, we have mostly a healthcare professional audience. So what would you want them to know? It's mostly physicians in training,
Mhm.
nurses, pharmacists. How can those people help in this mission if this is spoken to them?
Thank you for asking. First of all, if you are a hospital and you would like to receive joy boxes, you can just literally go to our website and there's a place to say, I want joy boxes.
Okay,
So
good.
spreadthejoy.org. And you can ask for boxes if you are a hospital or if you're applying on behalf of a hospital. Secondly, if you want to host a party, a packing party, we can do that. We can work with you. We take care of all of the stuff behind the scenes. We will ship the products to you all broken out, and then we can walk you through how to put it together. We can have a team member come to you and help you set up a packing party. You can donate. You can do a simple donation, goes such a long way. A $25 donation gives one box. So you want to donate $25, you want to donate $50, you want to do however much you want. You can donate $5 if you want. So that's another way to help. And if you know of any corporations that are interested in giving back, this is such a nice team bonding exercise because you really talk
Yeah.
through like big picture, doing good, feeling good moments, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it strikes me that this would be a good wellness event, right? Like to because that's a big thing in healthcare, Sheena, is that they're so burned out, everybody right now after the
Yes.
pandemic. And even before the pandemic, it just really made
Yes.
things worse. But they're always doing these little wellness things that don't actually move the needle much, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe
Big
you'll
joke.
get free pizza sometimes
Big
or,
pizza party.
wellness modules that you have to complete online and
Right.
just, but something like this actually, there's research to show that doing nice things for people and having compassion for people fills your own bucket too,
Mhm.
True.
and doing something like this, healthcare professionals see so many things that feel out of their control and they see so many bad things happen all the
Right.
time, and good things too, and things that they are doing good. But this is like a nice, easy way to be able to
Yeah.
have some control over
Yeah.
making someone's life better, making their day better,
Absolutely.
kind of helping their own moral injury wounds,
Yeah.
to kind of give back in these ways.
No,
One-
we can't get rid of all the terrible wellness activities. I get a lot of comedy and
Yeah, that
content
wouldn't be good
from
for you,
that.
I guess.
All right, but I do see your point. Now, Sheena, before we go, I can't. I know your sister's not on with us to help talk about this, but I've got to ask about the fork and chili incident.
Okay.
Oh,
As, yeah. Are you able to do this on your own? Is this?
Yeah, sure. It's funny because when I asked her, I had already messaged back and forth, or I had already thought about the things that I wanted to talk about. That's what it was. I had talked about the things that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And I asked her, hey, is there something that you want to make sure that we don't forget to talk about? And she said, don't forget the fork and chili. And I was like, oh boy. Oh God, we're really in sync. So, it's really all about for anybody that's in the hospital right now, you'll know that it's about taking these small little wins. It's
Mhm.
about just celebrating one night of laughter. And one of the nights that my sister and I and my niece just cried laughing, despite the fact that she was in this hospital. She had been there for weeks and weeks and weeks. I remember every night we would look forward to what we were going to eat every single night. We would either get my brother-in-law to pick up a takeout of something or we would order something. And one night, I think my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law's mom, they brought some food over. So we were really sad that we couldn't order food. We were really disappointed because we were looking forward to some Chinese takeout. And she brought it in and it was very sweet. It was such a nice gesture. So this is nothing against my mother-in-law and what she was bringing over, but it was really spicy. So we were just complaining about the fact that we have to eat this food that we didn't want. And it was and I dropped an F-bomb. I was and it's so chilly. And my niece looks up and she's 3 years old and she just blurts it back out at me.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And my sister looked over and I thought she was going to murder me. And she just burst out laughing and she looked at it and she goes, Arya, what did you say? And she repeated, I was like, don't get her to say it again. And this little kid for the next 2 days just kept saying, chili, chili. And at one point we're the grandparents are going to come. They're going to know what we're saying. And so we retrained her to say fork and chili.
Oh.
And so that Christmas, for Christmas, for my Christmas present, my sister actually gave me a little ornament with the picture of the three of us, and the caption underneath says fork and chili.
Perfect.
And it's really all about finding joy wherever you are in whatever
Yeah.
scenario, including a hospital room at 11:30 at night.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great. And a great way to end.
Yes.
So once again,
Sorry, Mom.
All All right, so it's spreadthejoy.org that people can find information. If you're in healthcare, if you're not in healthcare, you just want to donate.
Yep.
Obviously, social media, you're all over social media.
Yes.
But also you have a gala coming up.
We do. Thank you for reminding me. We have one coming up in November, and it is going to be amazing. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area, there's information on our website about it. It's going to be an incredible night. We're honoring some really, really wonderful people. And it's just such a good night because you see our whole team out and about. We have these amazing themes. We have I don't know how we managed to snag this beautiful human being up, but she just hosts the most incredible party. She's a wedding planner, but she just has a very soft spot for all the people on our foundation, and she sees that we are lost little puppies without her. So she plans this amazing gala every year. So this year's theme is, I don't even want to spoil the surprise, but I urge you to look into it. It's going to be incredible. There's going to be games. There's going to be dancing. There's going to be booze. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. And we're doing it as a fundraiser, and that's sort of what we use to continue doing our good work for the following year.
And that the information about the gala can be found on the website.
On the website, spreadthejoy.org, or on our socials. Please join us. We would love to have you.
And then also your podcast. Let's make sure we mention your podcast.
So my podcast is Sheena Interrupted. If anybody needs a little break from the medicine or from your busy lives, just come hang out with us, Sheena Interrupted.
And tell them why it's Sheena Interrupted, because I think that's a really that's the best part of the whole thing.
Is it though? Is it?
For someone like me who can relate, yeah.
Well, my husband spends the entire my husband spends the entire episode interrupting me, just derailing every
just
single
heckling
thought.
her.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they do, and they are hilarious together.
See, how come they've been able to normalize that as part of their relationship, but yet I get in trouble?
If you heckle me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he gets in trouble.
Okay.
Don't worry. He gets in trouble too.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's only fair.
That gives me some peace of mind. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Again, Sheena, thank you so much for joining us. It really is a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
Would you rather have 1,000 Demodex mites on your eyelid or just one of these little guys?
I will have one of those, please.
Because they're so cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at them, little eyes, and they got their feet, and they're just crawling all over your body.
Are there really 1,000 Demodex mites on eyelids?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not that many.
Okay.
But they can be numerous.
Yeah.
And they can cause Demodex blepharitis.
Yeah, I don't think I want that.
Yeah, you get red, itchy, irritated eyelids, flakiness, crustiness. Yeah, they can cause some itching.
No fun.
Yeah, it's not real fun. But you shouldn't get grossed out by it. I can look at your face and tell you're a little grossed out by this.
I don't want that.
Don't get grossed out. Don't get freaked out. Get checked out.
Okay.
All right. To find out more, go to eyelidcheck.com. Again, that's EYELID check.com to get more information about these little guys and Demodex blepharitis. All right, should we do a fan story?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, here we go. So this is from Micah, who's a fellow ophthalmologist.
All right.
Said that I thought the conversation regarding 3-minute visits was interesting. I absolutely empathize with Kristen's points, and of course, also completely agree with Will that sometimes 3 minutes or less is sufficient for the appropriate medical components and to make the patient feel seen and heard. Sometimes my post-op month 1 visits feel more about my ego than patient care. I can relate to that. It's oh yeah, you're seeing great. I feel really good about myself. You're seeing great after your surgery. Fortunately, I have friends who tell me that as a patient, they still appreciate these visits and having the doctor let them know that everything looks good.
Yeah. Because you never know as the patient,
And sometimes that takes 30 seconds to say that. Looks good. I did have one friend say that whatever the extra 3 minutes with each patient is probably worth it. What I explained to her is that we frequently see 40 plus patients a day. I know some more than that. So 3 extra minutes per patient represents 2 hours. that many fewer patients, which is part of my next point. So then he goes on to say, and I thought this is a good point. One additional comment that I'm sure you experience and just didn't have time to say is that patients will, in one breath, criticize you for a short visit, and then the next talk about how hard it is to get in to see you. It can feel like a lose-lose situation.
I get that. I also don't think that from the patient perspective, it's clear that those two things are connected.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. And it's hard to say that or like get that point across,
Right.
without seeming too like defensive and like in the moment. And
Right. But you know what I don't like about these conversations is that it always goes to, I mean, it is important to have the dialogue, but it turns into doctor versus patient
right.
rather than can we talk about what the actual problem is?
Yeah. What the
Which
the external
that's creating this system.
the external forces that are making it to where you have to find this perfect balance between number of patients and time with patients. And absolutely.
Yeah, and the actual problem is not that the doctor wants to only be spending 30 seconds with each patient or whatever. It's that they have all these
Right.
quotas they have to meet or whatever you call them.
It's not that like the only factor to determine how much time you're spending with a patient is how much time that patient needs. It would be great if that was all you had to consider.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But it's not.
Right.
And
So instead of fighting with each other, it'd be
Right.
cool if we could like come together, doctors and patients, and turn that energy toward, those pressures.
Let's all be friends. Let's all love one another. Let's just. Well, thank you for that insight into our. A couple episodes ago we talked about that.
Yeah.
All right, let us know what you thought of the episode too. We love hearing your comments. There's always ways to hit us up. Email us knockknockhi@human-content.com. Visit us on our social media platforms. We got a new YouTube channel.
That's right.
Launched recently.
At Glock'em
You got it. Kick it with us and our Human Content Podcast family on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. Thank you to all the wonderful listeners leaving feedback and reviews. We love those. Subscribe and comment on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube and give you a shout out. Like at Jacques Garofalo on YouTube said, finally, games are back. So
on the Curbsiders
on the
episode,
Curbside
we played a game.
We played a game. Yeah, I didn't do a game today. I'll get on it. I'll do better. I'll do better for you all.
We like the games.
We like
just
the games.
To be clear.
Sometimes we get so wrapped up in the conversation and the episode can start running a little long.
Yeah.
And then we got to push the game.
Right. Because I don't think you want to listen to a 2-hour episode of us. Just
maybe you do, but I think many of you probably don't. Who has that kind of attention span anymore? Full video episodes are up every week on our YouTube channel at Glock'em. Also have a Patreon. Lots of cool perks, bonus episodes, react to medical shows and movies, hang out with other members of this wonderful community, early ad-free episode access, Q&A live stream events, much more. Patreon.com/Glock'em or go to Glock'em.com. Speaking of Patreon community perks, new member shout out Carolyn G and Catherine C. Thank you both for being patrons. And shout out to all the Jonathans, as always. A virtual head nod to you all. Patrick Lucius G, Sharon S, Omar Edward K, Stephen G, Jonathan F, Marion W, Mr. Grandetti, Caitlin C, Brown, LKL, Keith G, JJ H, Derek and Mary H, Susanna F, Jenny J, Mohammed K, Aviga Parker Ryan, Mohammed L, David H, Jack K, the other David H, Gabe, Gary M, Eric B, Medical Meg, Bubbly Salt, and
Pink
Macho. Patreon roulette time. Random shout to someone on the emergency medicine tier. Kelly G, thank you for being a patron, and thank you all for listening. We are your hosts, Will and Christopher Planer, also known as the Glock'em. Special thanks to our wonderful guest, Sheena Melwani. Our executive producers are Will Planer, Christopher Planer, and Courtney Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor and engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is by Omer Benzvi. The moment you've all been waiting for now to learn about our Knock Knock Highs program. Disclaimer, ethics, policy, mission verification, licensing terms, HIPAA release terms. Go to Glock'em.com or reach out to us, knockknockhigh@human-content.com with questions, concerns, or jokes. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock, knock, goodbye.
Hey, Kristen, you know what I had to spend a lot of time doing yesterday after work?
What?
Clinical documentation.
Womp, womp.
It's terrible. Like not only just patient charts, like prior authorization paperwork, that paperwork that you don't even know that there was paperwork for. I mean, it's just there's
a lot of documenting.
So much documentation. I really could have used
What?
the Dax Co-pilot from Microsoft.
That would have helped.
It would have just taken so much more off my plate. Honestly, can I give you some stats?
I
This is
love
pretty impressive.
stats.
Yes. 90% of patients say their physician spends less time on a computer when they use Dax
I
Co-pilot.
believe that.
All right. Furthermore, I got more. 80% of physicians who use Dax Co-pilot say it reduces cognitive burden.
It's always good for you to think less hard.
Oh, man. I want to... No. Okay, I'm preserving my thinking for the more important things.
Mm-hmm.
And 62% of physicians say they are less likely to leave medicine or their organization.
That seems important.
It is very important. To learn more about how Dax Co-pilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine, stick around after the episode or visit aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. That's aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.